welcome back to my channel. Teresa Love here. Thank you so much for cooking. It means so much. If you could like this video, that would really help out my channel, and if you could subscribe, I would love for you to join the family. I'm almost at 360 subscribers, and I'm so happy for every single one of you. I just love making these videos, and it brings a smile to my face. For today's video, I wanted to do my Hunger Games book wrap-up. In the month of May, I participated in Sabi's Hunger Games readathon, and it was so much fun. So in the beginning of the Hunger Games readathon, I was very ambitious. I wanted to get a score of 12 in the reaping, and I was like so ready. I like had this plan. I was gonna copy my tricks from my last readathon, and I was just gonna like crank them out. And then about a week into the readathon, and I read I think like 3 or 4 books, I started getting super stressed out and like worried that I wasn't gonna finish and that I wasn't gonna get anywhere near 10 or 8, or like I was like barely gonna finish. So I talked to my friend Sabine, and she was like, if you read one book, then that actually gets you really prepared for the reaping, and you'll actually do good in the September part 2. And so that after she told me that, I was like, okay, that totally makes sense. I just need to read the one book, and I already read 4, so I felt like I was actually prepared. So due to my anxiety, I decided to just read as much as I wanted and calmly read and enjoy every single book, and when I finished a book, start another one, instead of stressing and worrying and trying to like finish all these books. So it actually worked out really well, and it ended up turning out really awesome. So for my wrap up, I read 11 books, 11 out of 12. I'm very, very proud of myself. And the first book I read was Ruby Circle, and this is by Richelle Mead. And this was for the prompt of read a book that is part of a series. And I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. This is book 6 in the Bloodline series, and the ending was just perfect and amazing, and I loved every minute of this series, and I would totally recommend it. Next book I read is Big Little Lies by Liane Morty. And this is for read a book where 2 people are partnering up. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, although when I was reading it, I felt like it was so much like the television show that I felt like there wasn't any new information. And normally when you're reading a book, when it's a book written before the television show, that there's like new information that the television show left out. So that was a little bit of a bummer for me, but it was still a really good read, and I really liked the show a lot. Next, I read Nightfall by L.J. Smith, and this was for the read a book that includes fighting. This is book 1 in the Nightfall series, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I still love this Mystic Falls world and this whole vampire, the way that she takes vampirism. Felt like this book kind of got, like the plot line was kind of boring, like something kind of weird was the whole plot, but it still had like all the feels of the Vampire Diaries, which that was like, I really get drawn into. Next, I read Evermore by Alyson Noel. This was read a book that is underrated. I am so right, this book is underrated. It was amazing. I give it a 5 out of 5 stars. I loved this book. I felt like when she was at school, I was like guessing what the mysterious guy is. Like, is he a vampire or like a zombie? Or like, I didn't know what it was. And I felt like I was just like at my seat guessing and trying to figure it out the whole time. It also gave me some Twilight vibes, which is always awesome. So I can't wait to continue with this series. Next, I read Gossip Girl by Cecilia von Zeuster. I don't know how to say her author. That the show Gossip Girl follows, and I read this for read a book that is the color of your hair, and I pretended my hair was blonde, and I chose this one because I didn't really want to read a brown book. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I felt like it had more information than was in the show, and I still enjoyed it, and it was a really quick read. But it wasn't like amazing like how I feel like the show is. Next, I read The Selection by Kierra. This is book 1. And I loved this book so much. It was so, so good. I read this for read the first book from your TBR that comes to mind. And I've had this on my TBR for so long. And I love dystopian, and I love The Bachelor. I was like, how could I not have picked this up? but it was amazing. I loved Prince Maxon and Aspen and the love triangle, even though people don't, and I just really enjoyed this book. I can't wait to read the next one. Actually thinking of reading the next one pretty soon, because I kind of want to just read the whole series, including the Happily Ever After book. But yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. Super, super recommend. I don't know why I put it off for so long. Next, I read #Girlboss by Sophia Amoruso. This is read a book with a strong character lead. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. It was a nonfiction. I did not know that. When I started it, I was super, like, I think it was like 2 chapters in, and I was like, wait a second, this is actually her story. It's not like a made up, like, you know, story based on her. This is from the designer of Nasty Gal. She started her company in just online, and then she ended up becoming this like huge corporation of a designer, and it's a really cool story, and it's really powerful if you're going into the workforce anytime soon, or you're wanting to be an entrepreneur. It's like really a powerful read. I would say there's some swearing, so if you don't like that, you might not like it, but I really liked it, and I was so happy that I liked it because I don't normally like memoirs. So next we have The Scorch Trials by James Dashner. This was a book that you are intimidated by. So this is the book that I was intimidated by, and it actually did intimidate me. I started reading it, and I was listening to a lot of it. It was probably like halfway through, and I felt like my anxiety was like, okay, so with my condition, POTS and CFS-ME, I'm in constant fight or flight mode, so my body is like always on hyper gear. It's just part of the condition. So reading a book that was thrilling and had the aspect of like they're walking through a dark, scary cave, and all of a sudden something comes and attacks them, and another thing attacks them, and another thing attacks them. So because of that, it kind of like seriously freaked me out, and I like my body was shaking, and I felt like I just could not calm my body down, and I couldn't figure out what it was because sometimes it's just random. And then I was like, oh my goodness, I think it might be the book. So I took a break on The Scorch Trials, and I wasn't sure if I was going to pick it up again, and I dove into Twilight, which is the book that makes you happy by Stephenie Meyer. And this is the book that I was reading with my mom, and I wanted to reread it with her because I've read so many books and I've had so many amazing experiences, but I wanted to kind of share it with you. And this is my favorite book ever, so I really just wanted to share the experience with her and like have her fall in love with Edward with me. And we had an amazing time. It was so fun and so calm to just read it together, and I didn't have to rush through it. I wanted to finish it this month so that I could count it as my Hunger Games readathon, finishing this. And we're actually going to read book 2 together also, so we're going to read the whole series. Then I jumped back into Scorch Trials, and I decided to only read it like a few chapters at a time and then take a break and read between Twilight. You know, so kind of to give my body a little bit of a break. But I did finish it, and I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. But I would say if you loved Maze Runner, which I did, then I would think you would like it. I just think it just wasn't the right time for me to read it. That's why it got a 3. But I felt like I still liked, I liked the writing, and I felt like I was in it. I was in the story so much. And the last 2 books that I read, we have Torment, which was read a book that has black on the cover, and this is by Lauren Kate. This is book 2 in the Fallen series. It follows Dark Angels. I loved this. 5 out of 5 stars. It was amazing. It was so good. I love Fallen Angels. I really do. So I really I want to read this whole series, and then I want to find more Fallen Angel books, and it was just really good and really interesting. And there's aspects of it that were really awesome that I don't want to give away because it's book 2. And the last book I read, which was book 11, is Sound by Juliet Madison. This is book 2 in the Delta Girls series, and I read this for Read a Book in One Place Only. It's a short 220-page book, and I read it in my recliner, which is where I am pretty much, minus sleeping, where I am all day. So I was able to do that easily. I really liked this book. Gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I just love this story. I just love that each book follows a different sense of these sisters. So the books really just connect really well, and you just feel Like, I was so into Savannah's, the first book. Now I'm so into Serena's, so it just is a really fun read. I wanted to show you, I made a bullet journal spread of my Hunger Games readathon. I just thought it would be fun for you to see. So I read 11 books out of 12, which I'm so happy and so proud of myself for. That means I got from 9 and above, nice shooting, sweetheart, and I'm allowed to use bonus reaping, Mockingjay Pin, and Prep Team, cornucopia, 2 basic weapons, 1 advanced weapon, and 3 gifts. So that's the highest I could have gotten besides 12. I'm really, really, really proud of that. Thank you so much, Sabine, for making this awesome readathon. It was so fun. I hope to do it again next year. I hope you put it on again next year. I would love to hear if you participated in this readathon. I would love to hear what your score was and maybe what was your favorite book in the comments. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! The dog! What the heck? 12